Elementary.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Okay. Apparently, I'm going to have to withdraw my motion for the meetings I came out with, and I think the proposals for a meeting next Thursday with the whole group. I guess you guys want to expand on that. So you want to propose that meeting instead? And what time? 7?
Yeah, we're available next Thursday at 7.
It's the whole group, and I believe the subject.
Well,
I don't think that Hillcorp is going to tell you exactly what square sections or quarters or whatever we have under lease. I just don't think we're going to do that. And I guess more significantly for myself, I don't understand why that matters in the regulatory scheme that we're talking about.
I think the idea is the citizens want to see, looking at a map of Commerce City, looking at it from the ground level, looking out, where could we expect to see a well? Where could we expect to see any of that stuff? I know you don't know that, but if we know the land, we can say, this land right here is, then we can.
Well, but in the.
Well, it's the same way as if you're going to build a Walmart. You want to say where the blocks are going to put it.
The geology dictates where those wells can be. Walmart is built led by commercial access and visibility. And
Matt, can we give the microphone?
Things that aren't
Slide the microphone over.
decisions that we make when we site a well. So you can look at our acreage. It's all a matter of public record. If you went right up here to the street to Adams County Clerk and Recorder's Office, you can pull Hillcorp's leasing, you can pull Anadarko's leasing, as well as our mineral interests, as Brad explained to you, our historic position out here. But it's not going to inform you about where those wells are going to be, if those wells even will be drilled, and at what point in the next 50 years that well may be drilled. I mean, and I'm not trying to be deceitful or hide the ball from y'all. It's just part of how this industry operates. We look at a specific geologic horizon and we try to narrow it down, but at this point in this play, we can't answer those questions. So looking at a map with our acreage is not going to be informative to helping you all figure out a way to work as regulators of our industry.
Is it fair to say this? And I've heard it said before, so I'm going to restate what I think I've heard. This area, unlike Weld County, is in a very exploratory phase. We don't know yet. To that end, we know a lot about the process. We've had a high-level discussion about it. We can get into greater detail about the process and those things in the process that we have an opportunity to regulate as a community. Regardless of what the ultimate intensity of activity might be in the area, we can identify things that we want to have greater control over than we do in our current land development code, right? That's probably feasible, and that we agree that that's not the end of the discussion. It's a start of the discussion. Call it phase 1, right? What do we know about the processes involved? We know that activity is likely to occur, and based on that knowledge, we want better regulations than we have today because we didn't anticipate this activity coming. So let's start there. As this play continues and we learn more about what the likely possibilities are for intensity, we can have another layer of discussion about things. Does that make, I mean, I'm spitballing here. Yeah, I think you're right, Jason. Whatever regs or solution is adopted in this process isn't going to be the end, no matter what. Certainly if activity increases substantially, and it's not going to be the end for Commerce City or the state or maybe the feds. I mean, this is a continuing dialogue at all levels. So, I mean, I appreciate wanting to get that worst case scenario and regulate against it. Again, I frankly don't quite get why, for what we're trying to get done regulatorily, where each well is and how many wells there might be is such a pertinent factor for you.
And if I can, I'll just ask one question to you guys, is if it's one well or 1,000 wells, would you want it regulated differently? I would want it regulated, if for my family, I would want it regulated the same whether it was one well in my backyard or 1,000 wells in my backyard. So at the end of the day, regulate it how you see fit. Because, you know, whether it's 1,000 or whether it's one, regulate it like you see fit to protect your community.
I'm sorry, I see a little different, Brandon, in all due respect. I think it's like setting a speed limit of 50 on a highway you've never built. If that thing is full of nothing but 180-degree turns, 50 miles an hour is way too much. So I think reasonably, you would first try and look at the landscape you're trying to regulate and go from there. And I don't think anybody's saying this is where they're going to put the well, but we can speculate on knowing what we know about the Niobrara and other formations where they're trying to get oil, how many wells you're going to have per section, how much water it's going to take, and the citizens have a right to know that, or at least the maximum impact. And I know you guys don't like to talk about that, but that's the real world. That's the way things... Well, it is the real world, Chris. I mean, well,
It is
the
the real
only
world
world that
on
you
the
want
public
to
land.
admit to is your world.
On public
There is
land.
another world.
Okay, so I think
So
let's go back to
I
the finish.
think-
Can we do the meeting next Thursday? Is that going to be all right? Can we-
Jason, I think we're about to make some progress here. What we're requesting is that the staff, through Mr. Barber,
I want to stop.
do research the records and come back to the committee with the lease position of these two companies and others.
And I hear that.
All right.
And that's possible, right? We could do that.
Yeah,
could
we can
go
do it.
ask to go do that.
Right.
And I hear you, but let me pause for a second and say
Okay.
this.
Right.
We can take this map, right?
Right.
And we can say there are how many squares in Commerce City and the county
Correct.
that we care about.
Correct.
And we've heard tonight and in every meeting prior, including the ward meeting that was held at Landmark, ranges of positions on a given square. We've heard it ranges from 9 to, let's say, 16. So for planning's sake, we fall in the middle and we say 12, 13. Let's estimate that there could be 13 vertical bores per square on this page. I don't need to know lease specifics to do that. I can plan, at least in rough sense, what that means. We had an educational segment, our second meeting, and I have my notes in front of me. We learned that it takes 20 days per well to drill, times the number of wells in the drill pad. Well, what does that mean when we translate it by square based on our projection? We don't need to go get that information. We can use a planning factor to rough ourselves in. We know that it takes, where did it go?
I guess the thing is, could we just do
300
this
tanks plus
next
pump trucks to frack a new horizontal well. Okay? I'm just using the notes that I have in front of me, and that may be the case. That was a vertical well, not a horizontal well, I think. Maybe I wrote it down wrong. Either
That's
way.
a horizontal well, and
Okay.
that was from Brad Miller of Anadarko, who
Okay.
I posit has good information.
Okay, so I guess the point is, there may be a plus or minus variance on any one of these factors, right? We're not going to get it in any perfect sense, but I think there was a good point made. We can identify the factors involved and develop what we think makes sense as a model to start at, and we can then start to poke holes in it and say, we want to ratchet this up a little bit, we're less concerned about this. But I guess I'm looking at it, I'm trying to find another way for us to get there. I don't think we need to set aside an entire meeting to study through lease provisions when,
Well, maybe that's a discussion between the city council and the citizens, and maybe these gentlemen don't have to be there.
okay, so I started to hear a suggestion of 2 meetings next week, is that right? Or 1 meeting next week?
I went back to one meeting with where we talked about but like you're saying, going through the positions, what we could expect, just walking through it, put it up on a chart, that sort of thing, so we can all kind of get a big picture view of it. Because right now, we kind of go, okay, 20 days, there's 10 days, you subtract the 3, okay, it's 50, and then so if we could just get this down on paper or on a screen and look at it, and then after the remainder of the meeting, go through the citizen questions, and then from there, see what we have to do next. That's just for next week.
What do you want to have next meeting?
Thursday.
And I hear you asking for a full meeting, all members sitting here tonight.
Is it a full meeting, Dan, or just a meeting with the citizens and the council? Because I'm not understanding that. Do you want all the regulators?
You know what, let's just say the citizens and the council. I think that you would probably agree with that from the state, or what, I mean. Okay. Unless you want to be here, then I think, I obviously think that there probably needs to be some discussions too between.
I did hear a suggestion that we continue on the review of questions, and I don't know that it's appropriate to do that without the
Well,
folks who-
okay, let's just do the meeting we talked about then.
Can I ask a point of clarification?
Table and have the separate meetings, 'cause I think that's what you were getting at. Having a separate meeting next week, then an industry meeting the following week.
Right,
Where we discuss
yes,
on top.
that's excellent.
Kind of minus, yeah.
Does citizens include Be the Change?
That would not include Be the Change.
What I said is, anybody who wants to come can come. You don't have to. If Be the Change wants to come, they can certainly come. If you want to come, I know you're dying to come next week. So if you want to, please come, but I would put it out there that it could
I
be
would say we
discussions.
really do need to specify who's expected to be in attendance, because contrary, I mean, people are making sacrifices to be here. I know you are, the audience is. And we do need to know what's expected of us at the meeting. And if we can't even agree on that, then I have a hard time believing that having additional meetings is going to be productive. So,
So what's your suggestion, Greg?
my suggestion, quite frankly, my suggestion is that the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission has a very strong regulatory program. It allows for public involvement in every single permit that's submitted, and local government involvement in every single permit that's submitted. We accept public comments, and we respond to those comments, and we add specific conditions of approval that are enforceable, that operators are required to do. If we receive complaints about those operators, we inspect and enforce. And quite frankly, my recommendation is that the City of Commerce City allow the state regulatory process to work, because we see
It doesn't work,
we
though, so
see it
let-
working.
let's just take
okay,
that
in
off.
No, no,
others-
Jody,
in
let's stick with the
other
meeting.
Cities
Let's focus on the meeting.
around the state.
Keep the meeting the
we
way it
see
is. Let
we
everybody next week can,
So-
I've heard people can't make it at 7, correct? Because that's just not an option.
Okay, let's citizens and the council, next Thursday at 7, full meeting 2 weeks from now. How's that?
I second that motion.
7 PM, citizens, Commerce City staff, and council members only.
And, yeah, and well,
And other members are able to sit in the audience, but the active discussion will be those members who were formally invited.
okay. Next Thursday, 7 o'clock. And then the full group next 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays from now.
That's right. We will absolutely do so. Thursday at what time, I'm sorry?
7 o'clock.
Um,
All right?
Can we schedule the meeting for next week? We just did that. I have some more to that sentence. Can we schedule the meeting for next week, and then can we meet as a group to discuss schedules? Again, we all have day jobs, we all have children. We can't sit here and make the commitment for 2 weeks from now. So can we make the commitment for next week, for Thursday?
I think, and I hear your comment, I think the balance, though, is many of us have schedules that fill up very quickly
Right.
at all hours of the day and days of the week, and so people are trying to placehold to ensure they can be here.
Uh-huh.
So with respect to that, I would say that it's in our best interest to try and get the next 2 weeks locked in. And if we find that somebody is not able to make it, that's why we have everybody essentially operating with an alternate at some point in the game. Does that make sense?
Right, but we still have questions about our alternates, so I guess that's open for us.
And I think we've just suggested that we'll have a meeting with the city and the citizens next week, and I think that would be an appropriate
Right.
agenda item.
Okay, so
So Thursday at what time? February 9th, what time?
7.
And we will limit that to 2 hours. Hard stop. Is that supportable by our staff? Okay. The following week, full group. Wednesday or Thursday?
Thursday for our group?
The following week,
Yes.
on the 16th.
Yes, we can't do Wednesdays. Wednesdays are a problem for us in the evenings.
Okay, so Thursday the 16th is 7 o'clock also?
We could do it earlier on Thursday if you'd
6
like.
o'clock?
Sure.
So Thursday the 16th,
Yes.
6 o'clock, everybody returns to the table. Okay.
Yep.
We know Greg won't be able to make it. He's going to seek an alternate that night. Is there anyone else that's not able to make it on Thursday, the 16th at 6 p.m.? Okay, so Thursday, the 16th at 6 p.m., we'll do our very best to hold,
Jason, may I ask when the city council meeting is in February?
we have our meetings on the 6th, the 13th and 27th. The 20th will not be a meeting due to President's Day. So,
Do we,
sorry,
do we know when the moratorium is up for second reading again?
27th. The objective was to be able to have the discussion begin on that subject on the 22nd. Assuming we come back together the 22nd. Can we put a rough placeholder in, folks, on the week of the 22nd? If it's not Wednesday, then the 23rd, at least for planning sake?
Yeah.
Okay, full meeting on the 23rd, 6 p.m.? We confirm that up in the week preceding? Great.
On either one of those Thursdays, I need to confirm if there's teen court or not, because they would be using this room. So if we can't use this room, we'll have to be back in 2108. But the time from a staff perspective will work. I just have to confirm the location.
And what was the 23rd again?
I'm sure they're better
What was the
behaved.
23rd?
I'm sure the team court is
23rd
better
is a
behaved, aren't they?
tentative meeting back here for the full group.
Oh, okay.
It's 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Meeting adjourned, thank you.
Did the 16th meeting include an air pollution?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Unadjourned really quickly for those that want to hear Charlie's update. And Wes, your comment really quickly?
Did the 16th agenda include the air pollution discussion and the particular expert from the Air Pollution Control Division?
No?
Because we can get into that, but
It sounds like that's not an option
not enough.
per Greg.
Oh,
Is there another? Greg won't be able to be there. We would have to negotiate that independently.
oh, Greg wasn't be there, I see.
Do you have a contact that we could have staff talk to?
I have Tom, Phil.
Okay. Thank you, Greg. Tom, did you catch that? Yeah. Okay.